Beats go like this.
What is up, people? The stars are back,
We're back.
and we are live right now. How are we doing, Justin?
I'm good, Josh. How are you? Let's give some intros for the people who might be watching us for the first time.
Yes, so I am Coach Prophet. I've been with the Coastal Stars. I think this is going on my 6th year. I'm thinking I'm about to start my 6th year starting this fall.
Nice.
Played outfield at the University of North Georgia. Played with this guy in high school at Houston County. And I'm glad to be here. You know, I just love giving back to the youth and the game that gave me so much. So
Absolutely. I'm Coach Justin. For anybody who doesn't know me, we'll have some more people hopping on the podcast as we get closer to the evening.
I think I bumped my camera. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's fix that real quick.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
That's better. But yeah, we're the Coastal Stars, guys. This is our podcast that we try to do every now and again where we talk about baseball, we talk about coaching, we talk about college recruiting. We're a showcase program that helps guys play against good competition and help them figure out what they need to do to play in college. So that's who we are and what we do. We got high school teams. And so we're going to be talking about some of our players. We're going to be interviewing a college coach tonight. So we've got a good show lined up. So yeah, welcome.
Yep.
You guys go ahead and hop in the chat as well. If you guys are watching on YouTube, everybody's watching on YouTube actually. So You guys make sure you're signed into your YouTube accounts. We've got a comment or a chat section. So if you guys have questions for us, or if you've got a comment you want to make, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Or if you guys just want to say what's up.
Yep, got 15 people watching. Got Jake Dutcher. Shout out to him.
What up, Dutch?
Yep, coming back through. So what up, Coach? I love to see it. Yeah, we will pop it up on the screen. Forgive me, guys. I'm out of practice with this. Let me see. Did that work? That did.
Yeah.
That.
Also, Dutch. Good episode for you tonight. Dutch was wearing a Georgia Southwestern shirt at our practice last week, and we're going to be interviewing their recruiting coordinator.
How about that?
Coach Jordan Barrett. So we're waiting on Coach Barrett to hop on the podcast, but we've got some stuff we're going to be talking about first. But once again, you guys hop in the chat, give us some questions, give us some comments, give us some feedback. And if one of our mics goes out, you guys let us know. That has happened before.
Yeah, just
so that doesn't happen.
Let us know if there's any technical issues. Sometimes we can't hear them too well. Got somebody calling me.
What's up, Mr. Rogerson? We got Brody in the
My
chat.
cousin.
What up, Brody?
I have to call him back later.
Nice. So we got some chats coming in. Very good.
Hey, Rogerson's in the house.
Yeah, as we get going, we got some updates first. So we are getting our fall season going. So we got a few housekeeping things we wanted to remind everyone of. First and foremost, if you guys are a new family, new players with us, make sure you guys have reviewed our parent player guidelines. We've sent them out multiple times via email. So make sure you guys watch that YouTube video, review the guidelines, make sure you know when to show up, what jerseys to wear. All of your questions can be answered with that. Another big reminder, and Josh, this is a big one. We see it time and time again. I forgot to say it on Saturday to the guys, but we play on turf fields.
Hey, yeah.
Get some molded cleats, please.
Well, let's go even a step further. Bring turfs.
Yep.
Don't show up to the park. If you show up to the park in your slides, that's fine. But when you go to hit in the cages, hit in, your turfs. Or I guess you
can
at
wear
Lake
your
Point,
molds.
you can wear your molded cleats as well. But especially when we go to, we're not going to play on, hard natural surfaces, but we have had this issue in the past where you get guys who get into the cage and you're wearing your Birkenstocks or you're wearing your Jordan slides. And that's like, no, like if you're going to be, especially if you're trying to play at the next level, have some professionalism, make sure that you bring the right equipment and the right gear to the ballpark, especially to prepare the right way.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you guys make sure you get a pair of molded cleats, go to academy, play it against sports, whatever you got to do. You can wear football cleats, soccer cleats, just get a pair of molded cleats. It's going to be wet in the mornings. You play a late game at Lake Point, the dew comes back, it's going to be wet. Don't slip and fall because you don't have the right shoes on. So that's one thing I forgot to say to our guys over the weekend. So make sure you guys get those. But we had practice last Saturday. I want to give a shout out to my co-host here, Coach Josh. It was his anniversary.
Yeah, 1 year.
We gave him the day off. Big day for him. Yeah. So we'll get some claps for that. Happy anniversary to Coach Josh. And also, if we have new players, Coach Josh is with the 18U this fall. This will be your coach for this season coming up. But we had practice. We went over a lot of stuff. I don't know. You looked at the schedule. I think we sent out some info about the stuff that we covered. What do you remember?
So went over, all of our pick plays, our signs, different things of that nature. And, that's the core of, how we, run our, game plan for every game. Like you have to know these signs because, we're not a team that's just like, go out there and just play. Like we're going to put stuff on, we're going to try to make stuff happen and put our players in the best position to go, for success individually, but also for us to, be in a game to win the game.
Yeah, for sure. We went over a ton of stuff and I've already sent this to parents and players as well, but make sure you guys are reviewing that information. Everything is in our group chat. So
I think my thing is, it keeps going rogue.
Your camera's moving on us?
Yeah, hold on. We might have to tighten it up.
But make sure you guys are reviewing the signs and plays. We went over picks. We went over first and thirds. We went over signs. We went over base running. We went over different types of pickoff moves. So a lot of information and a lot of the stuff, I could see it in the younger guys. They're kind of wide-eyed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So some of them have never heard really how to do a timing pick, how to do a good inside move to second base. So we talked about stuff like that. We expect our guys to learn, to want to learn, and make sure that they know what's going on so that they can be the best players they can be when they go back to their school, when they play in college, all those things they need to know. So a lot of good stuff. Speaking of, productive things, Jake Dutcher said had a great time and productive weekend. Thanks for all the feedback, Coach. You're welcome, Dutch. Keep working hard, bro. So yeah, that's kind of a practice recap. So that's what we did on Saturday. And this coming Saturday, we have our exhibition games. We got our inter-squad scrimmages at a different college campus, Middle Georgia State and Cochran this weekend. So we're excited about that. Teams will be playing. We'll get to watch a lot of our new players play baseball for the first time. Yeah. So not just working on BP, not just taking ground balls. We'll actually get to watch them in game a little bit. So that'll be good. And speaking of new players,
yeah, let's talk about them.
Let's talk about some new guys. A lot of new guys in the program this fall. So, actually, hold up a minute. Before we get there, I got a couple other housekeeping things I wanted to say. Summer 2026, we've already got people asking. Our registration is open. So if you guys know that you want to play with us next summer, the only way to guarantee that you've got a roster spot is to register. So that's open. Expect some more information from me about that. I'll send out some email stuff. We'll be putting it out on social media. But yeah, we'll have early registration discounts as always. So you guys want to keep an eye out for that. And then another thing for our players watching, our player recruiting form, we send it out every season. That's coming soon. I'm still working on that. Haven't sent it out yet. So keep an eye out for that, players. But I think that's most of the housekeeping. Now we can talk about some new players. You want to start with 18U?
Perfect. Yes. So for the 18U, let me pull it up actually. I got so many tabs open right now. But I'm really excited about this 18U team. I was going through the roster with you, this past week, catching up on what I missed as I was on my trip. And it looks, we got a good mix of a lot of returners that have been core guys for us, like, Evan, Gray,
Jonathan
Turner, obviously. Yep. Yeah. So we got a good mix. And even some guys we picked up over the summer that are coming back to play, like Dylan and Jacob down from Florida, as well as Joseph Stallings as well. So really excited about those guys. And just let me know when our coach is able to log on. He was they had a late night lift, but he was gracious enough to still say, "Hey, I'm coming on to add value to you guys and our players."
That was him right there. He said he's about to hop on. So we'll go through our players real quick, then we'll get Coach.
Do you have it pulled up?
Coach Barrett. I got it pulled up. So I'll go through the list real quick. 18U, Seth Usuri, Stephen Gilbert, Jameis Wingate, Noah Doolittle, Maddox Brooks, and Paul Liriano. And if I forget somebody, please forgive me. But yeah, we've got some good talent there in the 18U group. A lot of players to be excited about. And then a lot of new faces in 17U as well. Bo Adams, Jesse White, Eli Willis, Brody Phillips, Nathan Hester, Carson Turk, a player who's played with us a little bit in the past as well, Worth Taylor, and Nolan Hyde. So a lot of new faces there for 17U that we're really excited about. And then 16U, Cole Powell, Braden Crowell, Camden Banks, Mason Skipper, Elijah Hicks, Braylon Wall, and Lathan Dunavant. Lathan, hopefully I got your last name correct there on the pronunciation. But yeah, Coach Trent had a lot of good stuff to say about all of those guys. I remember he talked about Braden's batting practice. He said Mason looked really good in the bullpen. So he's got some good talent there for the 16U group. So really, really exciting team right there. And then the 15U guys, I watched my guys a lot over the weekend. Carter Cawthon stood out to me. Left-handed swing, looked really good. Lauren Valadez, Jude Womble, Lane Boutwell, a few other infielders that are going to be on my team. So excited about those guys. Luke Benson, Melvin Scott, Jack Wynn, and Campton Legg as well. So a lot of new faces. We're going to be getting to know these guys as we go throughout this season. But hopefully some of you guys are listening right now. If you guys are watching, y'all hop in the chat. Let us know. So we want to see who's here tuned in tonight.
Yep, we got 18 of you watching right now. So, don't be shy in the chat. We also will take questions because as we'll have questions for Coach Barrett as when he hops on. But if you have any questions, put them in the chat. We'll save them for the Q&A section, and then after we get done with our portion, we will run through those with him as well. All right. Yeah. Is he on, or do you want to go ahead and
he didn't say he's on. He said he's about to hop on. Okay. So why don't we speaking of practice over the weekend, one of the really cool things that we always try to do is we're at Georgia College in Milledgeville, Division II Peach Belt program, really good program, and has had a lot of good teams in years past. And they just hired a brand new coach. So shout out to Coach Pelkey and for the Georgia College staff for hosting us. And he took about 35 minutes of his time, and he just talked to our guys about Georgia College, about recruiting, about the life of a college baseball player. And so he hit a lot of really cool things, and we talked about all sorts of stuff. And our guys had some great questions for him. But that's one of the things we always try to do is when we're on those college campuses is to get the kids in front of the college coaches, get them exposed to, some of the things that they could expect of the college coaches, get them exposed to, some of the college baseball players could expect of the college coaches, get them exposed to, some of the college baseball players could expect of the college coaches, get them exposed to.
I am not sure what's
happening. College baseball players could expect of the college coaches, get them exposed to.
I am not sure what's happening.
College baseball players could expect of the college coaches, get them exposed to.
I am not sure what's happening. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening there.
That's okay.
I'm not sure what's happening. I'm not sure.
But yeah, getting those guys okay. Coach Pelkey was really good.
I'm not sure what's happening. I'm not sure.
But yeah, getting those guys okay brought back some.
I'm not sure what's happening. I'm not sure.
But yeah, getting those guys okay brought back some.
I'm not sure what's happening.
But yeah, getting those guys okay brought back some.
I'm not sure what's happening.
But yeah, getting those guys okay brought back some.
I'm not sure what's happening.
But yeah, getting those guys okay brought back some. getting there has some projects. 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 Freshman and sophomore. Here's some things you guys need to do. Getting there has some projects. Freshman and sophomore. Here's some things you guys need to do. Getting there has some projects. Freshman and sophomore. Here's some things you guys need to do. Getting there has some projects. Freshman and sophomore. Here's some things you guys need to do. Getting there has some projects. Freshman and sophomore. Here's some things you guys need to do. Getting there has some projects. Freshman and sophomore. Here's some things you guys need to do. Getting there has some projects. Freshman and sophomore. Here's some things you guys need to do. Getting there has some projects. Freshman and sophomore. Here's some things you guys need to do. Getting there has some projects. Freshman and sophomore. Here's some things you guys need to do. Getting there has some projects. Freshman and sophomore. Here's some things you guys need to do. Getting there has some projects. Freshman and sophomore. Jordan said he's getting there. Getting there has some projects. Freshman and sophomore. Jordan said he's getting there. Getting there has some projects. Freshman and sophomore. Jordan said he's getting there. Getting there has some projects. Freshman and sophomore. Jordan said he's getting there. Anybody who's got questions, Jordan said he's getting there. Anybody who's got questions, drop them in the chat.
All right. So it looks like he is not on quite yet.
Drop them in the chat.
All right. So it looks like he
I think
is
our chat might say something. Drop them in the chat.
All right.
Okay.
So it looks like he
I think a lot of our chat might say something. Guys, can you guys hear me now? Are we correct?
So it
Dutch,
looks
I don't know
like
if you
he
can. I think a lot of our chat might say something. Guys, can you guys hear me now? Are we correct? Dutch, I don't know if you can. I think a lot of our chat might say something. Guys, can you guys hear me now? Are we correct? We're working on some technical stuff here. If you guys, if we're good, somebody drop the back. Guys, can you guys hear me now? Are we correct? We're working on some technical stuff here. If you guys, if we're chatting, somebody drop the back. Guys, can you guys hear me now? Are we correct? We're working on some technical stuff here. If you guys, Jake said it's better, but it's still kind of looping.
Okay.
When he opens the other pages, it starts repeating. Is what Jeffrey said. That fixed it. Jake said it stopped.
Okay. So it's probably just that one page. Oh, you know what? I know what happened.
All right, I think we're working on fixing this.
Yeah, we're good. We're good now. It's because I had the live on. I didn't have YouTube up, but I had the live on because I was monitoring it, and so they were getting the feedback from it. So yeah, apologize for that, guys.
All right, I'm gonna tell Jordan to try to hop in again. Is that okay?
Yeah, good.
All right, so hopefully we're good now. But that screen he pulled up, we won't pull it back up, obviously, because I think that might have been part of our technical problems. But we've got timelines for recruiting stuff. So all of our players listening right now, make sure you guys take a look at that document. I'll share it in GroupMe tonight. Make sure you guys are checking those boxes. Sophomores, freshmen, you've got specific things you should be doing. Juniors and seniors, you guys have even more important and specific things you should be doing as well. Jordan said he thinks he's in, but I think you can't hear me. I can't hear you yet, JB, if you're in. Josh is going to get you in here to talk to us here in just a second. I think he's about to get us in. But in the meantime, guys, we're about to get Coach Barrett logged on and live with us. If you guys have questions for him, we'll be talking to him here very shortly. We're going to go through his bio. We're going to talk about the school that he is currently with, and there he is. We can see you. Jordan, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
All right. I think nod your head if you can hear me. Yeah, okay, so he can hear us. I cannot hear you. Make sure you're not muted on your end or something.
It says I'm good.
Still can't hear that. Normally we have some checks. Jake Dutcher said he can hear him, Josh. Maybe it's just me that I can't hear him. normally we have these checks to go through these in the pre-show, Jordan, to make sure that all the wrinkles are out, and we weren't able to do that this time. Go ahead and say something, Jordan.
You got me?
I can hear you now. All right. Hopefully the technical problems have subsided. Jordan, how we doing, man? Welcome to the show.
Doing good. Thank you for having me. We just kind of a long day. We just wrapped up day one here, actually. So
I saw that. Yeah. Awesome.
Excited. We got.
Yeah, very good. Day one, that's always fun. Brand new guys on campus. I saw the social media post where you guys were wrapping up the lift. Talk about the late night lifting. I never did the late night lifting when I was in school. I mean, obviously the guys are probably having classes during the day. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I probably like with around the same time we were in college, we're used to probably the 5:30 or 6 a.m. lift.
Right.
We do that here, but we got a new weight room, probably 4 years ago or so. But before they had to lift in groups because the other weight room was so small, and it used to be 5:30 and 6:30 groups. And they found that half the guys are getting something out of it. The other half aren't really waking up until lift's just about over. So
Yeah.
lift a little after practice. We usually give guys about 45 minutes or so, go grab something to eat. For guys with meal plans on campus, CAF closes at 8, so gives them a chance to get their meal in and kind of rejuvenate for lift. So that's kind of the way we do it here.
I like it. I like going to the gym late in the into the evening as well. But cool. We're going to give a quick background on Coach Jordan Barrett here. So as a player, and if anything's off here, you let me know. Some of this is from memory. Okay, pitched at Polk State and then at Elon is where
Correct.
You played at. Drafted by the Blue Jays in the 18th round in 2017. And so you played. I believe you pitched all the way up to AA. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Nice. So made it up to AA, and then I met Coach Barrett when he was Player Barrett playing for the Gateway Grizzlies. Go Grizzlies! And as a coach, so you went back to one of your alma maters, back to Polk State, I think is where you started. Florida Southern, you coached at as well, and now this is year 2 at Georgia Southwestern. And so tell us a little bit about Georgia Southwestern. You guys are a strong program here in Georgia Division II. And you guys went 29 and 23 last year, 16 and 11 in conference. Just talk a little bit about you guys, talk about the program and how are you liking it in here in year 2?
Yeah, I mean, I love it here. There's definitely a lot of structure, culture, development, and kind of to briefly sum it up, 29, 23 for, a lot of programs, they say it's a good year, above 500, all that. And for us, it wasn't a failure by any means because, a lot of good things happened throughout the year, all conference guys, all that kind of stuff. But for us, coming off a 35-win season and a conference championship the year before, that's kind of the standard, So 29-3, in a sense, it was kind of a disappointing year. We expect to be at the top of the conference every year, to be going to a regional every year. So me, on the coaching side of things, I like that there is expectations and standards to win. It's not all about just fielding the team and filling up dorms and all that kind of stuff. There's structure, there's culture, and expectations and standards.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I saw a post recently from you guys as well. Last 7 years, you guys have a regular season championship, a Peach Belt Conference championship, 2 All-Americans, multiple Gold Glove awards, 23 All-Region players, 24 All-Conference players, 5, this is crazy, 5 Peach Belt Conference Pitcher of the Years in the past 7 years. That's a crazy stat coming from the pitching coach here. Love that. 125.
In 7 years, one of those was COVID, so it's really technically 6 years.
Yeah, even better. 5 out of 6. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, so you guys are growing some good pitchers down there. So testament to what you guys are doing there in the development and the culture and the expectations that you just mentioned. So cool. So talk about the actual school. Talk a little bit about the majors, the academics. What's the typical day like for a student athlete?
Yeah, so I'd say probably like 80% of our guys are business majors. It's a nationally accredited school. The head of our business department was high up in corporate Walmart, so good connections there. there's three other majors that a lot of our guys tend to kind of gravitate towards too. You got criminal justice; it's all online. Um, you got exercise science. We have a good exercise science department. And kind of the fourth one that guys go towards interdisciplinary studies. It's kind of for guys that they keep saying they don't know what they really want to do, So interdisciplinary studies is your major, and you essentially pick three minors. So kind of gives you a variety of options there. Those are the four main ones. The school also is really known for its education and nursing programs. So the business, nursing, education, those are kind of the three main majors for students here. It's one of the fastest growing state institutions here in Georgia. Got enrollment about 3,700. Got about 250 student athletes here on campus. For us, the kind of, I guess, the day-to-day classes start around 8 a.m. Classes will end about 3:15 for our guys. We'll practice about 4 o'clock. NCAA rules, with hours and all that, we usually practice for about 2 hours, 2.5 on some of those days where maybe inter squads get a little longer. Lift after that are usually around, 7 or so, give or take. Then after that, it's whatever they got. Study hall is on their own, kind of an accountability factor. They have a sheet they have to log, and they'll turn it in at the end of the week. We don't really get, 34 guys in one room because essentially what you're just hanging out with for 34.
Right.
34 your boys.
Yeah, you don't want them to do that in study hall.
The study hall is kind of a sheet. They log their hours on their own. They got 5 hours a week, so they can divvy it up however they want and do it wherever they want. We have the option. Some guys may study better on their own in their apartment or dorm. Some guys might need to go to the library or something along those lines. So gives them free reign and accountability. So, if they can say they put something on that sheet that they study, and whether they did or didn't, if it comes down to it, it's got assignments that are due, so it kind of holds them accountable in that sense too.
Nice. Very good. Yeah, I don't know if you heard it earlier in this show. We talked about Georgia College. So they just got a new head coach, Coach Pelkey. We were up there last weekend for our preseason practice, and one of the things he emphasized when he talked to our guys was you're a student first. You're a student athlete, and so obviously you got to take care of the things in the classroom. And so that's super important. So yeah, very good. What's something that makes Georgia Southwestern unique compared to maybe some other Peach Belt schools or other schools in the region? I know you mentioned the business, the nursing. Anything else that stands out?
I would say like I said, it's one of the fastest growing institutions. So it's in a sense, even from a athletic standpoint, it's not a place that was kind of ready made. Some schools have had the facilities and the enrollment and different campuses and stuff like that for quite some time, whereas we're still hitting the ground running. When you talk about facilities, athletics, and that kind of things, even stuff on campus, things are always being built and renovated and stuff around here to keep up. So it's not a place that's kind of, like I said, kind of ready made. Kind of having to work and fundraise and put in some hours to get the things that we want here.
Nice. Very good. And before I forget, I know I've already had several of our players mention it to me. You guys have a recruiting camp this coming Saturday, right? This coming Saturday. I know at least one of our fall guys is going to be at that. And he's a returning player, so he's good. All of our new players need to be there for our signs and to review everything that we're working on. But I know some of the guys that don't play the full season in the fall with us hopefully will be there as well. So yeah, shout out to you guys. You guys got the showcase camp this weekend, and we'll talk a little bit more about that maybe. But the next question, speaking of recruiting, I got discuss, as the recruiting guy, as someone who does recruiting, where do you guys recruit? What type of players do you guys specifically target?
So I'd say if you look at our roster, it's a lot of Georgia and Florida guys. Doesn't mean we don't go outside of that. We have a couple Alabama guys sprinkled in, a couple North Carolina guys sprinkled in. I think there's a Tennessee guy in there as well. So mostly Southeast region. The one good thing about us is being a in-state tuition at Georgia is fairly on the cheaper side. So if your guy gets Hope, cuts out about a good chunk of the scholarship right there. But we also get a border waiver. So any state that borders Georgia, we're allowed to get that guy in-state tuition. So again, makes it affordable for a lot of guys in the Southeast region. Type of players we go after, kind of guys that fit our mold, like, you know, the I know it's kind of cliche, but the gritty blue collar type of kid. You know, we actually just had a kid on campus the other day, watching him this summer. He's wearing gardening gloves when he's hitting. Yeah, that's probably my
Nice.
That's crazy.
but we kind of, you know, our philosophy is kind of best available. You know, I mean, there's guys I reached out to this summer that, you know, they're texting me back saying, "Hey, sorry, coach, I've also got interest from you know, Vandy, Clemson." It's like, oh, okay, that's fair. I know my place. Just, you know, worst I can hear from a kid is no. It's not the first one I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's honestly best available. You know, from the pitching side, how's the stuff look, the velo, can he command multiple pitches for strike? You know, how's he move? Is he athletic, or does he kind of move, you know, methodical, slow, kind of like a pitcher, you know, like a PO kind of guy?
Mhm.
Kind of all those factors blended in. Hitters, you know, I know our head guy's a big left-handed hitting guy. He can throw 9 in there if he could. But it's honestly, we kind of go for the athletic type. Can he run, and can they bang it? And can they field their position? You know, obviously we kind of go mainly towards the middle of the field. So the main focus points are catching, pitching, middle infielder, center fielder. Obviously, if you get a center fielder, you could probably stick him in left or right and he'll be okay. You know, it's probably the athletic one of the group, so he can adjust to the corners. Same thing, middle infielder. If you get a guy who's a shortstop and say you just get 3 shortstops, odds are one could play short, one could play second, one can slide over to third. So kind of recruiting more towards the middle of the field and letting things work out from there. Obviously, first baseman's a little bit of an anomaly. Those guys usually stick to the corner there, but definitely get versatile guys, athletic guys, and kind of guys we feel like fit our mold with that kind of like blue collar type of mindset. I know it's kind of a loose term that gets thrown around a lot, but guys, and we kind of compare guys to what they are now and through like development, you know, when you talk about projectability, what those guys can be, you know, 2-3 years down the road. But we want those guys to also come in and impact right away. You know, for like a high school guy, we're not going to bring him in to sit behind a guy who's a junior for 2 years, learn from him, and you know, junior year he's when he sees the field. No, we want a guy to come in and compete with that junior right away.
Yeah.
You know, it's not fair to the kid to come in and, you know, essentially register for a year or two just to learn and grow. You know, he should be good enough to come in right away and still grow. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of answered my next question that I had. I think Josh is adjusting his camera here, but my next question was, what are the differences between a high school player that comes in as a freshman that makes an immediate impact compared to a guy that doesn't touch the field? And you kind of, you know, already hit on that a little bit, but yeah. And then one of the things you already said that stood out to me is how a guy moves. And that's one of those things too. Like we talk about recruiting, we talk about, you know, I have a whole list. I have red flags. I have a list of red flags, recruiting red flags. I'm like, here players, if you don't want to play in college, here's some things you should do. You know, we talked about hitting in Crocs earlier. We talked about your body language, you know, and stuff like that is on our list. But how a player moves, and that's a cool thing to know, because college coaches don't only watch you like when you're fielding a ground ball or when you're swinging the bat or when you're throwing a pitch. Like they're watching you, how you move and how you interact constantly. Like if you like a guy and he might go in and pitch an inning in a game, and you're going to watch him in the dugout. You're going to see who he's talking to. You're going to see how his body language is and all that stuff. So how a guy moves, and to me that even said how he moves constantly, not just how he moves on the field. So that was one thing that stood out. But we'll skip that question. Josh, do you want to take number 5? Are you looking at it right now?
Yeah, I do have a quick question, just, you know, based off of that. But you said you like those gritty type of players. So when you're out recruiting, what are some, you know, key things that you are looking for? Like Coach Justin saying, like you're not just watching them there at bat, you may be watching them, how they interact with their teammates. Like, so what does that interaction look like for a guy that you want to bring in to Georgia Southwestern?
Yeah, so odds are, like, if I'm watching a kid, I probably already liked it before or got word of mouth. I think he's pretty good. So I already know he's probably going to be good. So I'm almost looking for things that can go wrong. Like, what can I cross off, you know, if that makes because odds are he's already got the talent. So again, like interacting, is he good with like ball talk with his teammates? Is he, when you say the gritty kid, is he kind of that like, that gamer, that term gamer? Like, is he a hard nosed kid? Is he giving the hard 90s, even if you just hit a line drive to the one hopper to the pitcher that the pitcher can just, walk over there and be all right? Is he still going to run that out, or is he just going to dog it? Is he communicating with his teammates? Like, say shortstop, can you see him communicating with second baseman, third baseman, positioning himself, like kind of knowing the game within the game? So kind of seeing the knowledge there too. If that makes sense. Hopefully that answers that.
No, yeah. No, that was great. And we can even shift, a little further. What specifically about like pitchers that you would want to bring in? What do you look for in those guys?
Yeah, so kind of like I said before, it's like kind of a blend of, is the stuff there, the velo, and if it's not velo, does he have a plus secondary pitch? Can he spin the breaking ball, 2,800 plus, or is the changeup like a Bugs Bunny type of pitch? Kind of a blend of the stuff, and two, can he throw 2 to 3 of those consistently in the zone or compete in the zone, or is he, is he spraying it? Does he only have a fastball and the breaking ball is not there? I try not to dig too deep into mechanics when I'm looking at a kid, especially a high school kid, just because I know everyone moves different. Like one guy may move super funky and unorthodox, but it might work for him. The arm's still on time. It's repeatable still. Whereas the guy might look super smooth, but still sprays it, So I never really dive too deep into mechanics just because everyone moves different. How I move might work for me. It might not work for you, and vice versa. So it's kind of a blend of this stuff, and kind of still going back to like body language and stuff, like how he handles himself. Again, I almost want to see guys fail in a sense because I know they're already good. I want to see him fail to see how they handle it. Like if he walks 2 guys in a row, is he just going to crumble out there, or is he going to kind of grab the bull by the horns and bear down and get out of it? So it's kind of seeing the mentality mindset of it too.
Yeah. You're doing a really good job of answering the next question I have. So my next question was, what are some things that you look for in a pitcher, and what are some things that will cross him off your list? And so that was a great one there. Are they, not mentally strong enough to battle back after 2 walks? Or, maybe after they walk those 2 guys and they get pulled, how do they interact with their teammates coming off the field? So those are some things that could cross a pitcher off of his list. And I've got another pitching question for you. This one just popped into my head. You mentioned, spinning it, getting over the secondary pitches for strikes consistently. When you're watching a pitcher, are you more concerned about the metrics and the numbers? Are you just more concerned about just sheer competitiveness and kind of that grit that you mentioned already?
I'm like a blend of both because I feel like I pitched in kind of the old school-ish type of ways, and now it's kind of moved more new school with the metrics. So I'm a good blend of both. I think the metrics have a part in a guy's, stuff, how his stuff plays. But at the same time, like, it doesn't matter if you have whatever spin rate is on the breaking ball or whatever the vertical break is on the fastball. Ball 4 is ball 4, So there's still an aspect to pitching, which when you go to, depending on the recruiting event, sometimes you just got a radar gun. You got to kind of go based off the eye. And you can kind of tell if the guy spins it really well, like when you know. If the guy's fastball got a little bit of ride to it, like you can kind of see that with the eye. So I'm kind of a blend of that. And, we have TrackMan here as well. So we have that tool to utilize a guy's, arsenal per se from the pitching side. Obviously we use it for hitting as well, but it's a good tool to have to see how a guy's stuff plays and see from the metric side what his strengths and weaknesses are. So you know how to tailor the way he pitches to that strength. Doesn't mean we're going to, flush away the weaknesses. We're still going to minimize that, but we want to build off those strengths as well from the metric side. But going back to it, I still believe there's a sheer competitiveness to the game. Take metrics out of it. Like once spring starts, our TrackMan's running, we get those reports, but I'm not looking at it in the second inning of a guy's start. Like, he's not spinning it that well. I care about the strikes and outs and wins because that's what's going to help this program,
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff there. Man, I had another pitching. Oh yeah. So I got to watch Coach Barrett pitch quite a bit.
Oh, really?
And Coach Barrett on the mound, like big lefty, really, really good. And my question to you was, when you're out recruiting, looking for arms, are you, being a lefty yourself, are you more biased for lefties? Do you like trying to get lefties, or what are your thoughts on that?
I'll always take some lefties.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't have enough,
I,
right?
I know you kind of need that different look from the left side. You know, you just still need some guys sprinkled in from the left side, but I'm not. I'll always take lefties, but there's still, lefties are also the stereotype. They're the unathletic ones, the oddballs. So,
Right.
there's something there.
We've
But
got a few of those too in our program.
No, 100%. We have the one, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Coach Barrett, looking forward to going down there for Scout Day. I played at North Georgia, and so I haven't been down there since my senior year, which was 2019. So looking forward to seeing all the upgrades. I've heard some great things. But yeah, it's going to be a great day for our guys. They're going to, continue their recruiting process. So with that being said, what do you think most families, misunderstand when going through the recruiting process?
I think a big thing is if the kid wants to play at the next level and the family wants the kid to play at the next level, I think I'm a firm believer of if you want to play at the next level, there is a place for you out there somewhere. If you're a Georgia kid, it might not be in Georgia. I think families have to broaden their horizons a little bit, whether it's level, location, whatever it may be. But you still also have to have your check boxes. I like to say you still have to see if it's financially doable. If you like the place from a development standpoint, you got to have your do they have your major? You got to have your check boxes, and you got to kind of stick with those. But at the same time, you also have to broaden your horizons. You might think you're a D2 or a D1 guy, and maybe some D2s you really want to pursue maybe aren't interested, or there's not a need for that position at the time. Doesn't mean you can't go try the junior college route, or try different avenues. Like I've played with guys with the Blue Jays and an A ball that were like D3 NAIA guys that were just as talented as me and Justin were affiliated guys. They were just as talented. They just had a different avenue to get there.
Right.
So I'm a
Yeah.
firm believer that if you want to play at the next level, there's a place out there for you somewhere. You just kind of have to broaden your horizons. And, me being a Florida guy, I ended up going to Elon, North Carolina. Never really left the state of Florida growing up, but I was like, hey, this feels like the best fit for me right now. And it ended up working out for me. So everyone's got their own kind of story, and it's up to them to broaden their horizons and kind of write it.
Yeah, and another thing too is like that's a testament, and I 100% agree. Like, there's a lot of schools that are, I see it all the time, and I share it with our players. Like, hey, here's a school they're looking for 2026s right now. Like, they just had a couple guys leave. Like, there's a lot of places to go play, but it's a testament to how good the state of Georgia is for college baseball, because it's really hard. I mean, we have talented players in our program who have a hard time, finding somewhere that they think they're good enough to play at in this state. But if you are willing to travel, if you are willing, to make a sacrifice, potentially with the location, then there is a place for just about everyone. But one of the questions it really boils down to is how bad do you want it?
Yeah, I was literally about to say, like,
Yeah.
it just boils down to that. Like, do you want to play at
Yeah,
the next level or not?
I played with guys in high school that I personally thought like they could have played at the next level, but they weren't getting what they wanted from being a Florida guy. They didn't get like the UCFs or the FGCUs. They didn't get
Yeah.
those. And I'm like, man, I'm going to Polk State. You probably never heard of it, but like when you look at the baseball side of things, like they're really good. They move guys on to those kind of schools, anyways. So like, why don't you try junior college out? And they're just like, I don't know if that's for me. So like, some guys just kind of gave it up just because they weren't getting what they wanted out of it. And I think if they probably look back on it, they might regret it. I don't know. I can't speak for them, but I just wanted to play, and really I only had one option, and that was junior college for me.
Yeah, and it worked out all right. You had a pretty good career.
Yeah.
I witnessed some of that. So yeah, you were a great pitcher, man. Cool. And one of the things too, I mentioned Coach Pelkey at Georgia College. One of the things he talked to our guys a good bit about was social media. And we everybody sees it. We're constantly on social media, and it's changed the baseball recruiting landscape a lot too. Talk about, does Georgia Southwestern use social media to recruit? Are you on Twitter X? And and if so, what advice do you have for high school guys trying to navigate that?
Yeah, definitely big on Twitter X, whatever it is now. yeah, throughout this summer, whether it's portal, last minute JUCO guys, last minute high school guys, like I'm on that thing just about every day, and that's all my feed is baseball this, baseball that, uncommitted sophomore leaving this JUCO or transfer portal guy leaving so and so. So at least here we are on Twitter a lot looking for guys. And I would say if you're a guy, just keep putting your stuff out there. Giving updates if you're using it as a platform to get recruited. Just keep like for summer if you're at WWBA, post some of your highlights or video from that weekend, and then 2 weeks later if you're at PBR, post them. So like keep the update going. Don't be at WWBA in June and not post again until Jupiter in October, because all that time, other schools are probably using that same platform to look at guys as well. So I wouldn't let that time slip. As much as you can update your video, your metrics, whatever you have on there. I mean, some guys might be a late bloomer where if you're like a 27 now, a year from now you might be growing 4 inches. Like include that, because obviously the velos might be jumping from there. The 60s might be faster. The exit velos might be harder. So over that course of time, it shows that you're developing on your, I wouldn't say on your own. If you're if your guys throughout this fall, those guys they're progressing and they're showing it online, not staying kind of stagnant from June to October or whatever it may be.
Right.
Yeah, good advice there. Yeah, and players, for our guys that are watching right now, we have in our recruiting handbook how to set up your X profile, like the things you should include in your bio, the contact, your GPA, your height, your weight. And it's important too, like Coach Barrett, you can probably talk to this a little bit, but when you hit a guy's profile, they can pin that first video at the top. And that video at the top, their pinned video, should be a really good reflection in a very short amount of time of the type of player they are. Because you hit that one real quick, and then you can see kind of what type of player a guy is, and so that's important as well. So setting up that profile is important, and obviously, like you've already said, you guys use it, and a lot of other schools use it as well.
All right, yeah, and just bouncing off that, what does a good profile look like? I know Justin just mentioned a couple things, but like for you specifically, because everybody's a little bit different in how they approach recruiting. When you go to a guy's page, like what stands out, what impresses you about a guy? You're like, okay, let me see more of what this guy's about, or even potentially reach out.
Yeah, I would say the more information you can put on there, the better. Like you can do the most information because it's better than leaving something out. Whether it's GPA, hometown, any possible metric you may know, height, weight, like quite literally everything. I would just include on there. What your high school GPA is, if you have a NCAA, eligibility number, like whatever you can add, put it on there, because it helps eliminate some research off us. Like if I see a picture on there and he just puts, right-handed pitcher that's 87, 88, that's all he has. He doesn't put breaking balls. He doesn't put height, weight, where he's from. Like it cuts out a lot of kind of research, which I'll probably end up doing anyways. But I think the more you can kind of put on there, it cuts out some of that extra time that we have to take on our end. So I would say any kind of metric, height, weight, GPA, what your intended major is, quite literally everything. I'd put it on there.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because it gives you a little bit more of a complete picture of what that guy may be potentially looking for, especially if they put like the major, right? Because different schools have different majors and stuff like that. And so if you can present yourself and say, hey, like this is who I am, this is kind of what I'm looking for, then for you, especially like the hometown thing, I think is big, especially in the state of Georgia, because of the hope. You automatically know, oh, this is an in-state kid, and if his GPA is listed and it's already over 3.0, it's like, oh, okay, Hope. Over it's 3.5, right? Zell Miller, right? Or is it 3.7 for Zell?
Zell Miller is 3.5. Hope is 3.0.
3.5. So yeah, if it's over 3.5, you're like, oh, Zell Miller, and then you're like, oh, if this kid fits the profile of what I need, pitcher, lefty. Pitcher with a lefty, a crafty lefty, you're like, okay, this might be my guy. And so that just gets you more interested. So no, I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, very cool. Last call.
I would include phone number as well. That way, if
Okay.
they do like you, they don't have to run through a bunch of channels to get your number. They
Right.
can reach out to you right then and there.
Yeah.
And even email. I know email is more of a old school type of thing, I
Yeah.
guess, but it's still used in the coaching world. But I think if a kid wants like kind of direct contact and schools are interested, like I would just have the number on the profile or with the video or both. That way they can just contact you directly instead of, like I said, working through back channels. If a kid, I know you guys do it with your guys, but if, say I were to like a guy, he doesn't have his number on there, I got to channel through you, or, if you're not available, I got to try to find, maybe his high school coach, and try to work a bunch of channels to get that number and so on and so forth. So if they have the number on there, like, just cuts out a lot of that as well.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll just do a few more questions here. Coach Barrett, I know you're still on campus, so we want to be, very aware of your time, because you got to get home and get some sleep. But one question one of our guys commented in our chat section, and I might try to take a stab at this one first. This one comes from Quentin Peterson. Is it better to go JUCO first because of the transfer portal? And that's a good question for Coach Barrett, because JUCO product himself. I think it's situational. Like, it depends on where a guy's at in their game. And it's not, you can't answer that question the same for everyone.
Yeah.
It depends on a lot of variables: where you live, how many junior college options are there around you. Cause in the state of Georgia, there's not that many now.
Right. Yeah.
And it's, even the JUCO stuff is extremely competitive. There, some of the schools are carrying larger roster sizes now, and developing, some of the JV programs, but that's a tough question. But Coach Barrett, you can take a stab at that. What would be the guiding answer? And you kind of already hinted at it earlier. You said you went JUCO because that's like the only option you had. And so that might be an answer for some guys, is if that's the only, the only option you have, then do it. But yeah, junior college first because of the transfer portal, and that changed a little bit of the game. But what are your thoughts on that? Anything you want to add to that? Junior college versus going to a 4-year for a kid who's trying to figure out what direction to go.
Yeah, I think you kind of said it perfect. It's definitely situational. I think the biggest thing with NCAA transport, all that stuff, is that the rules are constantly changing. Like, I feel like every semester almost there's a new rule coming out that so and so's got. If you did this whatever year, you have an extra year of eligibility. There's still stuff lingering from COVID, so it's definitely situational. Like I said, I did junior college. I did it. That was my only option. I was a late bloomer. So I knew that if I really wanted to play, especially right away, like I had to do that. Like, I had a walk on spot to a D2, but like, I was unsure with myself. I didn't know if I can go in and compete with 21, 22-year olds. Like, I wasn't sure. I felt like, junior college, it made more sense for me personally. Smaller rosters for Florida JUCOs, and the development track record was there. So I'm like, okay, if I do everything I'm supposed to on my end with work ethic, school stuff, if I handle my business the right way and I develop to what I think I could be, then that 4-year school is still going to be there for me after 2 years where I'm better, and it might open up more options that way, if that makes sense. But some junior colleges, like you said, it's still a competitive atmosphere. It just gives guys the opportunity that didn't really have those 4-year opportunities. It gives them the opportunity to earn at bats and innings right away. Not saying they can't at a D2. It's all kind of situational, and what you ultimately feel like is the best fit.
Yeah. We talk about that a lot, finding that best fit. Very good. And then a couple more questions, and then we'll let you get out of here, Jordan. Appreciate your time. But if you could give one piece of advice to a 16-year-old who dreams of playing college baseball, what would it be?
Shoot, how much time we got?
It's up to you.
It's only one piece.
It's one piece of advice.
I feel like, because I feel like this list can kind of go on and on.
Oh yeah.
I think the big thing, if I can go back to my 16-year-old self, I would have been in the weight room and trying to be as athletic as possible, man. Because I think when you look at the separating factor between guys coming out of high school to juniors and seniors at the Division II or Division I level, is the physicality. Like, if I can go back to the 16-year-old me, I would have been hitting weights 10 times harder than what I was thinking I was doing. I would have been eating a lot more. I would have tried to be more athletic, whether it's sprint, agility work. I mean, it's a long, lanky left-hand pitcher. not athletic. But I would have, tried to up my game in that part of my life to, because I think that's where my development kicked in when I finally got to junior college and learned what a weight room is, and seeing guys that were 30 pounds heavier than me throwing 8 miles an hour harder than me, like that's really eye opening. To see guys that are bigger than you, like, man, how do I get to that? Like, lift, man. Like, I would say that's definitely a main piece for me. If I can go back to my 16-year-old self, is definitely the weight room, the agilities, the sprint work, being more of an athlete, being as strong as you can. Throw some weight around, throw it the right way, good form. Um, I feel like from the pitching side of my development, I feel like I did everything the right way. The long toss, all that. But I think the weight room part would have been, it would have shortened that curve for me instead of waiting to go, junior college and being surrounded by dudes that were just straight up bigger and better than me. But that was also probably a blessing in disguise for me in a sense. So that's definitely one piece for a 16-year-old, is start hitting those weights hard. And if you think you're already going hard, you should probably go even harder. If you think you ate a lot to put on weight, you should probably eat more. If you think you're running fast, try to run faster. Ultimately all that stuff will click one day. You just got to kind of trust that process. I know that's also a loose term, trusting the process, but it is a process. There's a lot of ups, a lot of downs. You got to kind of embrace those downs and learn from them. But it's never a straight incline. There's going to be loops and curves and ups and downs. But in the long run, if you're getting 1% better each day, those days stack up.
Boom.
I love it.
Dropping some knowledge. He did ask how much time we had. And
Yeah.
He dropped the mic on
He
us.
did. Yeah.
If I know you said one piece, but I think a second piece that would go a long way as well is start to learn like the mental side of the game. And that, I know that's also a very broad topic with the mental side, but learning how to handle adversity, learning how to control your breathing, kind of learning the game within the game, kind of falling under that mental side. I think that would go a long way, because I think a lot of guys, we have a bunch of new guys here on campus, and we ask them if they've ever covered the mental side, from wherever they come from, whether it was a 4-year transfer, a JUCO guy, high school guy. Nobody raised their hand. It's kind of a thing that I feel like should be covered more often, for guys that want to play at the next level, is learning how to deal with adversity, learn how to control your breathing when you're out there and things aren't going your way. The mental side covers so much outside of, just the physicality part. And you always hear the term, the game is, 90% mental and the other half physical.
Right.
Baseball is a game of failure. So I think it's learning how to cope with that, deal with that, and learn from the mistakes. There's so many things from the mental side. So I would start tapping into some of those things and see what works best for each individual.
Yeah.
No,
great.
yeah, those are two great, bangers.
Just banger pieces of advice there. Love that.
Yep.
Good stuff. And then Josh, do you want to
Yeah,
give us the last question?
Yeah, last question. Thank you for coming on and gracing us with your knowledge and presence. I think we do have one more. This is a fun question that I will ask before I get to my last question. This is coming from the audience, from a dad in the chat. And
this will be for you personally.
Yeah, this is for you personally.
This is a Jordan Barrett question. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah. So how do you feel about bat flipping
as a pitcher?
As a pitcher.
I mean, if a guy bat flips off me, he probably earned it. I probably left
That's
something
fair.
that he could probably earn it. Do I like it? No, but
right.
If I don't like it, I should probably pitch better.
Right.
At least for the pure coaching side of it, I don't see it, like the need for it. I know the game's all about having fun and doing that aspect, but I still there's a right way to go about it. I think the way we kind of put it here is winning cures everything. Like, if you're beating someone's teeth in and you hit a home run, I'm not saying you got to sprint and haul it around the bases, but put it back down and go. And same thing if we see another team do it to us, it's like, like kind of how I said it. All right, you don't like it, then pitch better, man. I didn't call like a belt high breaking ball, you know.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah, nobody's ever
you
called
know,
that.
I know the game's tailored towards kind of having that fun and doing it. I mean, there's a time and place for it. But I think if you're looking at the ethics of it and you know how a kid goes about his business, you know, it is what it is. So
No, yeah.
hopefully that answers that. You know,
No, yeah. I think that was a
from me,
balance.
yeah, for me, like playing wise, again, like do I like it? No, but I should be better. I
Yeah.
shouldn't allow that. You know, 450-foot home run. From the coaching side, you know, it kind of is what it is. We encourage our guys not to do it. There's a right way to go about it, and like I said, winning kind of cures everything. You know, if someone's bat flipping and they're down and we're beating them, so what if he did it and then just win?
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna remember that bat flip.
Yeah, you look dumb when you do that. So just FYI for everybody in the audience. But
For
yeah.
sure.
So last question, man, to round us out tonight. What's a story of a player you've coached who just completely transformed themselves through work ethic and mindset?
All right. I would say like one of my like.
I was gonna say, kind of goes
Go ahead.
back to that piece you were talking about earlier, kind of the grit
Right.
and the physicality in the weight room. And then, you know, kind of like we've already said too, like for yourself personally, that wake up call you got when you went JUCO. So yeah, just right along those same lines. But do you have a guy that who were you about to say? Does someone come to mind?
There was two that I could think of. My first year at Florida Southern when I was the volunteer before I was at Polk State, there was a guy there. He was a weekend guy, but the first like 3 weekends were not very good. And he kind of just maybe had to come into Jesus meeting and was just like, man, like what you got for me? I was like, respectfully, it ain't very good right now. So like,
Yeah.
you want to work? He's like, oh man, I'll do anything. I'm tired of sucking. And he ended up being like an all conference pitcher that year, kind of turned his year around. I mean, at one point he was sporting like a 7-something ERA. You know, he ended up being an all conference pitcher that year. I mean, there was like probably 4 weeks where he won pitcher of the week. That guy's now playing pro ball. So it was good to see him kind of have that light go off. Like, man, this ain't gonna work. Like, I'm not gonna be in the rotation. I'm not gonna earn innings. And he was kind of already an older guy. So it was good to see him kind of have that coming to realization, like, man, this ain't gonna work if I really want to play at the next level from there, you know, which obviously he won a pro ball. So he ended up signing. He's with the White Sox now. And then a second guy I had, he kind of reminded myself of me. This is when I was at Polk. You know, he's kind of a long, lanky. He was righty. He wasn't lefty, but long, lanky. He had better pitch ability than I did, but you know, it was 84, 87, and can spin it, can pitch, but it was just 84, 87, and he got kind of lit up in the fall. You know, I kind of had some heart to hearts with him. Like, I think the work ethic could be better. You know, I like that you're being hard on yourself and holding yourself to a standard. But we got to be better in a sense. You know, fast forward a year later, I was at Florida Southern, but I'm watching him throw in the fall and he put on, you know, 15, 20 pounds. He's 90, 93 now. I'm like, oh, all right. Like, I guess something along of the lines that I said kind of clicked. And he ended up getting drafted. He's with the Mariners now. So I think those are two, like, kind of seeing the process, kind of embracing the sucky times, and putting your nose down and just going to work and trusting that process and seeing the end results. And, you know, I'm hoping those guys still continue to have that same work ethic and go about their business the same way and keep on moving up throughout the minor leagues.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think one of the best things you said there was that guy who, you know, kind of got lit up and then he, you know, kept his head down, kept working and developed into the player that he could be. Right. And I think that's kind of the theme of, you know, this podcast is, you know, you have to learn how to deal with that adversity and deal with that failure. And the guys that do, you know, are the ones that can actually reach their true potential. And because they've understood how to fail and they've gone back to the drawing board and said, hey, where can I be better, rather than just sulking in their misery, or rather just having all the success. And then when something goes, bad, then they just crumble. So no, that's excellent, man.
Yeah, beautiful thing. It's like life too. I mean, you're going to get banged
Right.
up. You're going to make bad decisions. You're not going to perform well. But it's all about how you can respond. And that's the beautiful thing about this game we all love. It teaches you about life, teaches you how to be a man. So, Jordan, I want to thank you so much for your time, brother.
Yeah, shout out to you, man.
A lot of great insight there. Definitely stay in touch with us. We'll see you at our fall scout day. We'll be down.
We had the Quintons mixed up again.
That's all right. We'll be down. We'll be down at Georgia Southwestern here next month. So we'll see you down there. Hopefully, we can get a few of our guys down at your camp this weekend. If you have any questions or see our guys on X, like we've already mentioned, you guys can go follow Jordan. Jordan Barrett 21. There's our guy.
Jordan Barrett 21.
So y'all go give him a follow. All of our players that are interested in Georgia Southwestern, I know we've got a lot of them. So yeah, Jordan, thank you for your time, man.
I appreciate you having me. Love the ball talk. I probably can keep going on, but if any guys have questions or anything, feel free to reach out via Twitter. I think my email is posted on the website. Feel free to reach out, even if it's non-GSW related. I'd be happy to answer any kind of recruiting questions, because in the long run, I've been in your shoes before. At one point, Justin's been there. We've all been in your shoes at one point, good, bad, or indifferent. So I'd be happy to help in any way I can.
Awesome.
I love it, man.
You're the man. Thank you so much for your time, Coach Good. Josh, you got anything else for us?
You having me.
No, man. I think you knocked it out of the park, even though you're a pitcher.
Good stuff.
All
right, Jordan.
In the park.
Yeah, you got to keep it in. He kept it in the park, so no bat flips.
Perfect.
The bat was not flipped.
All right, JB.
I love it.
Take care, brother. Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you guys.
All right, see you.
See you, man.
All right. So that was Coach Barrett from Georgia Southwestern. Hey, he dropped a lot of gems there.
Yeah, that was some good stuff right there.
And that's exactly why we do the podcast, not only to interact more with our players and with our Coastal Stars family, but to also give them access to coaches like this who can give them insights and knowledge that you can't really get anywhere else, right? Because I don't see any other programs doing this.
No, absolutely, man. And, what a great opportunity to ask a guy like that some awesome questions. Like we had Coach Pelkey last weekend, Division II head coach. We got Division II recruiting coordinator this week. And then, we got Coach Knight at Middle Georgia State this weekend. I think he's going to be there. I don't know if he'll be able to talk to our guys or not, but, getting some good experience. So that's what we're here for, players. Hope you guys are ready for Saturday. And I think that wraps up this episode of the Coastal Stars podcast. We'll catch you guys on the next one.
All right. See you guys.
Game begin.